Okay. What is going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in for episode 2 officially. Today's episode is going to be a lot different. We're going to be covering a topic that's been growing in popularity extremely fast. Actually, I mean, the amount of conversations that I see about this in the fitness industry across social media is actually insane. And that is GLP-1s and peptides. I wanted to pick this topic for today's live because I feel like it's one of the most interesting, but also at the same time, one of the most controversial topics that has so much lack of clarity, I should say, for the average person, right? Lack of clarity for the average person trying to understand and get in shape, and they're exploring this as an option. I feel like there's not a lot of information out there, and there's just not a lot of clarity on this space. Yet there's so many people, especially influencers on social media, that are talking about all of its benefits, how it's helping them, how it's changed their life, and how it's the next best thing. So I wanted to discuss that on today's live. I wanted to go through I did a bit of research beforehand as well because I wanted to be somewhat educated before I just deep dive, just so I have a little bit of background so that I can make this more productive. But I wanted to research and explore this topic with you guys on the live so you can get in with the goal of, one, keeping it honest, but two, I think there's some unique value that comes with taking the veil off an influencer that's projecting themselves from a space of authority versus like an influencer actually doing research and going through and doing the understanding with you guys. I feel like there's a lot more value and a lot more authenticity comes from that. So that's the goal of this video, and that's the goal of the series. So today's topic, what are GLP-1s and peptides, and are they actually worth it? I want to clarify before I go in is that I am not saying they are bad or good. My goal is not to come into this to say they're bad or good. Now, if that answer becomes obvious at a certain point, right, unbiased, hopefully, then okay, I will say that. But I'm not coming in this saying they're good or bad. I'm coming in this to seek honest truth and information, and I'm going to go through this as honest as possible. And yeah, that's what I'll leave it at. Just so you know, I don't have any opinion going into this, right? So yeah. So without further ado, GLP-1s and peptides. I'll explain to you how I've seen the definition through my research and things that I've done previously to prepare for the live. And so, in short, peptides. I do find that the definition between GLP-1s versus peptides is kind of foggy for me, to be honest right now. I'm sure there's a distinction, but right now they're kind of like interchangeable as much as I can say right now. I'm sure there's a distinction we'll get through in a second. That's part of the research, it's part of the live, right? But for what I know, as far as I know right now, peptides are short chain amino acid proteins that act like messages in your body, but like synthetic versions. So it's like injectables, right? You ever see people with vials on social media? I mean, there are oral ways to take it, but most people that are taking peptides nowadays are injecting that into like subcutaneous fat areas, which feels, you don't know what subcutaneous fat. It's just like the squishy fat around your body, right? So they're probably just injecting it around their stomach or things like that. And so yeah, and I'll just be honest, like the initial idea of that sounds dangerous to me. The concept sounds dangerous, yet it's becoming so popular, so I figured I would take a look. But just initially, I'll be honest, like the idea that they're putting needles in your body without yourself, that is just, to me, for fat loss, seems a bit foreign to me. And I know I'll be honest, like that's not something I would typically be like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but we'll go into it because a lot of people have good results, so it's worth having a conversation about, right? So in short, it's basically a short chain amino acid. So it's basically something you inject in your body, right? That is synthetic, that signals to your body to do a thing, right? It's for whatever, it's like help you burn more fat, or help with fat oxidation, same thing, or helps increase cognitive function, or helps you recover quicker, or helps your skin become smoother and clearer, helps you appear more tan, right? There's like a crazy amount of use cases for this stuff, and essentially from my knowledge now, there seems to be a peptide for every single problem that you could have in the in the world, right? Like, I'm surprised there's not a peptide for my bank account at this point. But it's just crazy to me how there's so many different. One second, my computer just shut off somehow. Okay, it's going back on. Okay, it's just my monitors. Okay, we're good. But it's crazy to me how they have so many use cases. So we'll go through them here, and then we'll get into the research and all the Googling and the videos and stuff like that. So what do? So one, some help you, trim fat by helping your insulin sensitivity. Some help you fight hidden infections. So some people have used it to, oh, by the way, I should clarify that this is like not medical advice. This is for research purposes and entertainment purposes only. So please consult a doctor before you do any of this stuff or try any of this stuff. So I want to clarify that before I get in trouble, right? Okay, so going back to it. So hidden infections, like it helps with like autoimmune diseases. People have been using it for treat autoimmune diseases. People have been treating it for mood, for brain health. Who's been using it? In this particular live, I'm going to be talking about how it helps men, but it's going to be related to everybody, right? A lot of people that I find that are using peptides and GLP-1s are people that are trying to lose fat, having a hard time gaining muscle, people that have are having a tough time recovering from injuries, people that have less energy, people that have brain fog, or in some cases, men who want to slow the aging process. And I'll have a caveat here and say that this can go for men and women, obviously, because both are using it at a crazy rate right now. It's honestly ridiculously viral, as you're going to see in a second. Here's a few names that I collected that are really popular amongst people that are using peptides and GLP-1s. Retatrutide, BBC 157, TV 500, MODC, NAD+. I'm sure you've heard these names, these buzzwords around, especially if you're in an algorithm that shows you fitness content. I'm sure you've probably heard one of these things. But these are one of the most popular ones, so I want to make sure that I go into this. And here's some like interesting follow-up questions that I'm going to go into, which is like, what's a peptide versus a steroid versus like testosterone replacement therapy, right? And what are the risks and benefits, right? So my goal is to answer this question by the end of this live, or at least get close as we can to that question. And that's how we're going to do it. So if you're watching this in retrospect and not during the live, just, skip around. And yeah, so that should help. But yeah, I appreciate you guys joining in. And yeah, this is how we're going to do it. So I did post this on my Instagram. It seems like it hasn't quite loaded on my Instagram yet, because I was going to push it to my followers so they can see this, but that is not uploading. So that's unfortunate. So I want them to be able to see this. Okay, now it seems to be uploading. You can hear it in the background. Okay, good. All right. By the way, none of this is pre-rehearsed or anything like that. This is all live, so just know that this is getting raw and authentic. You're not getting anything pre-rehearsed. But anyways, okay, so GLP-1s. Peptides. Okay, so we know it's an injectable. We know that it's some sort of short chain amino acid, a protein basically, but it's artificial, right? Synthetic, that you inject in your body that helps your body, that basically signals to your body to do a process, to start a process, right? Is that whether that's to help you burn fat or whether that's to help you gain muscle? Like they've just figured this out, and this is going like ultra viral, right? So the question is like, are they actually like? I guess we start with the first question, like, what are like? I'm trying to think how we should answer this because it's very confusing. What's the difference between a GLP-1 and a peptide? I guess this is what we should start with, right? Ozempic, I think it would be classified as a GLP-1. A lot of you guys know what Ozempic is. So GLP-1 is probably like something like Ozempic. To differentiate between a peptide, that would be probably a distinction. So let's do that. Let's just do GLP-1 versus peptide. Or maybe it's the same thing. If it's the same thing, then we can skip through that. Let's see if I can just like, quickly. Okay, so GLP-1 is a peptide. Okay, that makes sense. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. Is a natural peptide hormone from the gut that regulates blood sugar, appetite, and fullness. So this is something that naturally is found in the human body. Obviously, it's synthetic because we're making a synthetic version of it and then putting it in your body, right? So that's a little bit different. And so I guess it's the same thing. So I guess we're good. So it's a natural peptide hormone. So it's a peptide hormone from the gut that regulates blood sugar, appetite, and fullness. So maybe that's what the difference is. Maybe like GLP-1s is a peptide that's specifically found in the gut, and maybe peptides itself is just a general hormone. Like maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Let's see. Or sometimes pair with them for enhancing. You know what I'll do? This probably helps you guys, because I feel like people that are watching this, you got to see me reading stuff and be like, Trevor, I don't want to just read off of Google. All right, so let's look at videos. I feel like videos help people learn better, right? So for copyright reasons, we're not going to show YouTube videos. So maybe I can show you guys like a quick TikTok or something. Let me see. Understanding GLP-1s. This is TikTok, so we can watch this video without copyright.
Did you know that?
Shout out to this creator, obviously, because I'm watching their video. So
that is most like tirzepatide. It actually has another peptide compounded with it called BPC-157. So I have been taking the oral version of the BPC-157. So it's a peptide that is really going to help decrease inflammation, and many people use it as a supplement to really help.
It's interesting. This person seems, and this is the issue that I'm having, is like the people on social media, like you can't tell if they're doctors, if they went to school for this, or if they're just somebody that's done independent research that's giving their opinion, which I'm not saying any one of those are valid, but I feel like it can be really confusing for somebody who's specifically wanting an opinion from a doctor. I think that's really confusing, and I think that's why this live is really important, because like, how do we make the distinction between who we're getting information from? Are we talking to doctors? Are we talking to influencers? What's the difference? What's the certification? We have no idea. We really just have no idea, right? And so collectively, like doing this research and like kind of like getting a good strategy for how to find information is probably going to be really good, right? So
recovery, like athletes.
This is even, I guess, not going to go anywhere. It seems like she's just talking about a GLP-1 she's taking as she's in sort of a nurse's gown. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just let's just type in peptides. Like, what are peptides? Let's start there. Maybe you'll find some interesting stuff. Peptides. Okay, so what is a peptide? Here's some bro science. Would you start with some bro science? Ooh, Dr. Huberman. You know what? I'm always biased to Dr.
Huberman, and
for those of you guys that don't know, I said this on my first live too. Dr. Huberman is one of my, I'm a fan. I love his work. He works at Stanford. He is a doctor, and I would argue that he is more qualified than most to give opinions. So here we go.
Professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. Today we are discussing peptides. Peptides are a topic that's receiving a lot of attention these days. There are so many different kinds of peptides. And by the way, I will explain what a peptide is in just a few moments. But for instance, insulin, which is involved in regulating our blood sugar or blood glucose levels, is a peptide. Oxytocin, which is sometimes called the love hormone, although I wouldn't say that's the best description of what oxytocin is. It's a neuropeptide / hormone that is involved in everything from pair bonding to socialization, but a bunch of other things as well. Those are just two examples of peptides that are familiar to most people, at least by name, and that exist within the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different peptides that exist within our brain and body. Peptides that are increasingly being used for therapeutic purposes. And I want to point out something very important about this topic area. So what is a peptide? A peptide is a small protein that's made up of little chains of amino acids. Now, the moment people hear protein, they usually think
we have that part down. So it's a protein that you inject in your body that basically signals things, and it already naturally occurs in our body, and it's just like a synthetic version, I guess, that we're injecting into ourselves to kind of like manipulate our bodies in different ways.
Proteins that you eat, or perhaps they think about 4 calories per gram of protein and that sort of thing. Keep in mind that we have lots of different kinds of proteins within our body that have nothing to do with the proteins that we eat. Now, it is true that many of the amino acids that comprise peptides, as well as other proteins in the body, come from the foods that we eat, because the amino acids, again, are the building blocks of peptides and other proteins. The basic way that we define a peptide is that it tends to be a small protein, meaning chains of anywhere from 2 to 50 amino acids. That's really the strict definition of a peptide. Some peptides are hormones, other peptides are merely called peptides, proteins, others are neuromodulators, meaning they adjust the activity of neurons.
Okay, just so you're not lost, like obviously I know he's speaking a different language to some of you that are like, well, what is this? So I just know you're not in the same boat. and I'll do my best to kind of explain in my own words what he's saying too.
And some peptides multitask and do many things. In fact, I think it's fair to say that most peptides have what are called pleiotropic effects, meaning they affect many different aspects of cells. And this is very important to understand because unlike a lot of our discussion on this podcast about dopamine or about specific hormones like testosterone or estrogen, when we talk about peptides, especially therapeutic peptides, oftentimes we're talking about a single peptide that does a bunch of different things depending on the cell type, the time of day or night that that peptide is present, and even the different so-called downstream effects of the peptide. This is important because when we're talking about...
I'm going to make a point here too that I think is really interesting because he's making a distinction between testosterone and estrogen and peptides, right? Which I think is cool. I think sometimes people get peptides confused with like TRT and things like that. These are very different things. And also, I think that one thing you mentioned that I want to make a note of is that this is the first red flag is coming to my head, and it's only because he says that it matters like what time of the day you take it and like the timing. It's like it seems that like there needs to be a lot of like careful, or it needs to be a lot of detail when it comes to administration. And for the previous research I've done about peptides, it seems like people are just kind of taking it, you know. Most majority of people that I've seen have seemed to be taking it kind of randomly, not randomly, but they take it on a schedule. I don't think they're considering the time of day or when they're taking it. So that tells me that there's already like needs to be a lot of structure around it and a lot more conversation, education around it.
Peptide therapeutics. Rarely, if ever, are we talking about a very targeted and very specific effect of these peptides. And this is important both in terms of thinking about what effects you're going to get of taking a given peptide if you decide to do that, as well as things like how to adjust dosage and how long to take a peptide, whether or not to cycle the peptide, etc. So I just gave you a very simple description of what a peptide is and the fact that they have pleiotropic, meaning many different effects both within cells and across different cell types. So the point is that if you want a specific biological effect, maybe you want to repair a given injury, or you'd like to get more growth hormone in order, I don't know, to get leaner or to recover from exercise more quickly or to feel more vitality. Yes, there are peptides that can impact those pathways, but always, 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 if you take peptides, especially therapeutic peptides designed to promote activity within a given pathway for a specific purpose, you are going to activate other pathways as well. There's simply no way to remove the pleiotropic feature of peptide therapy. I'm Andrew Huberman.
So he seems to say that like people should also be careful with when they take peptides, what are the effects? I mean, which I would agree, obviously. But I think he's giving us a decent definition. Let's take out a few more videos, see if we can find some more understandings. Peptides for beginners could be nice. Let's check out Bro Science. See what
You've probably heard the word peptide or wonder drug about 1,000 times, and every single time you ask, what the hell is a peptide? Well, in less than 60 seconds, I'm going to tell you what a peptide is, what they do, and if they're even worth paying attention to. And let me tell you, they are a lot cooler than you might think. What a peptide is just a short chain of amino acids that your body already uses, but when they're configured in a certain way, they act as signals to your body to do different things. There are a ton of peptides already out there, but the most popular ones help you regulate your body weight, help you get tanner, make you look better, and also make you smarter. But the thing is that peptides aren't magic. All peptides really do is act as a nudge in your body so the right systems act at the right times and allow you to upregulate your natural hormones. But here's the truth. Peptides, yes, they have insane benefits and you can see some crazy results, but they also have some drawbacks. Peptides don't have a ton of research behind them, but they are very promising. So if you want...
Okay, so that's one of the biggest caveats, and I'm glad you said this, is like peptides don't have a ton of research behind them, yet they're really promising because people are having really good effects. And that's the part that scares me the most, is that a lot of people are doing this and research is still like coming out, and like it's taking the industry by storm, right? Like I can't go on social media one day without seeing at least 20 videos about somebody promoting peptides, and then at least 1,000 comments of people saying they want peptides and how they're going to get the peptides, things like that. So that's why I'm making this video. But yeah, okay, I think he did a decent job of explaining it. I'm glad he put that part in there too. Let's
more
see what else
in-depth videos on peptides and what they actually do and what specific ones act on certain pathways.
Okay, so I think we're getting close to having a pretty solid definition here. Maybe we'll check out one more video, and then we'll kind of keep pushing to understand. Joe Rogan?
BPC 157 impossible to get now?
It will. Yeah.
and a
It's
whole
so
host of
effective.
other. It's so effective. I mean, I can't even begin
That's a
to
hot
tell
take
you
by Joe Rogan. Hopefully that's
how
not AI,
many
but he's saying that
thousands and thousands and thousands
BPC
of patients
157 is
my
super
clinical team has
effective.
put on BPC 157, never with an adverse event. It is so good for the gut. It's a gastric pentadecapeptide. It's it's actually synthesized from gastric juice, so it's actually tolerated very well orally.
I've started to see it orally,
Yeah.
which I never really saw before. I always saw it as an injectable, but I see it advertised as orally.
I've been taking BPC for 2 weeks and my back pain has already went away. I can finally do squats in the gym. This thing actually
So
does.
this is the kind of videos that I'm talking about. Like I hear the videos like this, I'll see like thousands per day, and that's like the craziest part. I don't know if that counts because he didn't really go into what it is.
This is
Maybe
peptides explained in less than 30
I
seconds.
swear, in terms of
Even
what
your
a
kids
peptide
can
is.
understand. Peptides are just messages that your body already uses. Think of them like text messages telling your body what to do. Different peptides send different messages. Some tell your body, burn more fat. Some say, build more muscle and recover faster. Others say, sleep better, heal faster, improve skin. That's really all that they are. They're natural signals that your body already understands. So use the right message for the right goal, stay consistent, and peptides will help your body work the way that it's supposed to.
I think that this is a good video, but I also think that the good and bad of it. So he's saying that it's just a signal, but it makes it sound extremely innocent. And our thing is like, are there any implications from sending artificial signals to our body? I think that's the natural question, because I would sit time on the positives, but the positives, I don't know if you guys know, the positive are obvious. Like if you just look up peptides and like the success stories that peptides have had with people that have them, it's astounding. And I could go through that just to prove a point, right? Not to be biased, to show the positive sides. But my thing is like with all of these positives, like are there any implications? Because I feel like that is what's most beneficial to people, because everybody, I mean, I've seen tons of videos, people like losing weight and recovering from old injuries and getting more clarity and having clearer skin and having help with autoimmune diseases and things like that. I've seen like tons of things, but I haven't seen any drawbacks yet. And for me, like based on history, not just based on like my opinion, like based on history would show that oftentimes if something is too good to be true, it sometimes is. So, you know, that's kind of where my head's at. Oh, that we
This is
finished watching
peptides
this?
explained and let you understands. So use the right message for the right goal, stay consistent, and peptides will help your body work the way that
Yeah, he makes it sound like super like, I mean, based on his opinion, I would be like, oh, this is fun. What peptide is best to grow taller and get a stronger jawline? Is that an actual thing? Oh my gosh. Okay. And another part that's scary is like when everybody's promoting like their own peptide lab that they're partnered with, which I'm not mad at, because I just hope that like all of that's legit and verified, right? And so that there's that. So okay, so we know what peptides are. So let's go back to our chart here so we kind of stay on task. And so I guess the next question is like, are there any like, what are the benefits and side effects, right? So I think a good way to start is we should probably just dissect a few of the most popular peptides and then figure out, because it's hard to take on all of them at one time. There's no way I'm going to research peptides generally and be like, yeah, like I'll have an opinion on all the peptides. No, I don't think that's how that works. I think that we should probably look into a specific peptide, and then maybe us deep diving into one will help reveal something about all of them, right? So I think one popular one I hear a lot of people talk about is, well, Joe Rogan talked about BPC 157, which is a healing peptide. And then another popular one I see all the time is retatrutide. So I got to figure out which one we want to deep dive in first. If anybody's on the live, you guys can tell me which one we want to deep dive in first, or NAD+. I know a lot of celebrities are doing that one. Yeah. Do we have any, you know which one I should go into first? I can just go into retatrutide. It's the first one I have. Or, I don't know, BPC 157. BPC 157. Okay, so we'll do BPC 157. First, let's figure out what is that peptide is and what it's for, and then we'll go into some more legitimate sources other than TikTok to figure out what this is. But for general information, I feel like TikTok is relatively safe. But for specifics, we'll probably have to steer away. BPC 157. Let's see what it is. The truth about BPC. Okay, let's go back to Joe Rogan for this. Maybe not that video.
I'm looking up the fucking BPC 157. I'm like, do I need
Peptides.
the Wolverine shit that they say, right? And it's like
they often compare it to the Wolverine drug because it heals people so fast. For anybody who doesn't know about it, BPC 157 is start becoming like the miracle shot. You throw a shot in your arm and it heals everything and you're magic. Like that's a that's a generalization, obviously, but that's like a very popular opinion that I see floating.
do I get that so I can recover faster?
Yeah, get that.
Is it? Have you tried that?
It's legit. Super legit.
So this is not AI. Like Joe Rogan is, I don't know if I'm taking it out of context, but Joe Rogan's out here saying that BPC 157 is super legit.
I said he did it for his he got an ACL surgery, and his doctor, he asked about it, and his doctor goes, I take it.
Well, that's a good doctor. Because let me tell you something. There's a reason why USADA didn't let people use it in the UFC, and now drug-free sport also doesn't let people use it in the UFC. It's because it worked.
Oh snap! So is it banned from the UFC? Can I verify that? BPC 157 banned in sports. Let's look that up. This might help us get somewhere. Yes, BPC 157 is prohibited in substance sports by the anti-doping agency. So it's considered doping by the World Anti-Doping Agency. That's interesting. Okay, this means it's banned at all times, both in competition and out of competition for athletes in sports governed by WADA and related to anti-doping agencies. Key details on the ban. It's included because it's an experimental, unapproved substance for human therapeutic use by government regulatory health authority. So it's unapproved substance for human therapeutic use. Okay, this is touchy because like you could argue this is a good thing, you could argue it's a bad thing, and I'll tell you what initially I think of when I see it's unapproved and show you that I'm not biased. One, unapproved doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible. It could also mean that you don't have enough data to prove that it's healthy yet, which is reasonable, right? Or a lot of people might say in the peptide side, the extremist side, or the extreme, when I say extremists, I mean like people that are in that space deeply, would argue that it's just a way for them to shut down something that is probably going to disrupt a lot of large companies and industries and hurt a lot of rich people's pockets. So there's two sides of the coin there. So just want you guys to know. So all because it's unapproved doesn't mean necessarily that it's a horrible thing. It could be, and we should explore more, right? So it's unapproved substance for human therapeutic use. Okay, so experimental drug, essentially, I guess is if that's safe to say, right? Let's see. It's not approved therapy. It's not possible to obtain exemptions to use illegally in sports. Major sports leagues, numerous professionals and collegiate sports organizations in the United States, including the UFC, the NFL, the NCAA, also specifically ban the use of BPC 157 or other unapproved peptide hormones. Okay, so this is like common. This is actually, they're actually banned across the board. Okay. Health and safety. So the FDA, which has a lot of controversy around it because oftentimes that people say the FDA is meeting the minimum standard of human health. That can be good or bad, but that's just, what I hear. Has classified BPC 157 as a substance that may present significant safety risk, citing a lack of clinical safety data. Okay, this I would say that nobody disagrees with. A lack of clinical safety data. So a lot of people are taking something that they see has helped a lot of people lose fat, heal, lose, all these other things, but there's a lack of clinical data around it, right? And concern. So they basically haven't tested it on a lot of people yet to understand what the real side effects are, right? There's a lot of concerns about the unregulated production and impurities in products sold online, which I would also say is probably, a reason that I'd be probably cautious, right? Consequences. The use of, it's funny because they talked about the consequences, which is already kind of biased, but they didn't talk about the benefits. So they're going to go in the consequences, but not okay. Anyway, use of BPC 157 can lead to anti-doping rule violations resulting in suspensions. Oh, well, that makes sense because this isn't related to the ban. So it resulting in suspensions or disqualifications from competitions, even if recommended by a medical provider or purchased legally as a research chemical. Wow. So you can still get banned. Athletes are strongly advised to avoid products containing BPC 157 due to the high risk of doping ban and potential health concerns. Wow. USADA.org. Experimental peptide creates risk for athletes. Wow. Oh, now we're getting away from TikTok. Yeah. Confirmed there is no legal basis for compounding pharmacies to use BPC 157 and compound. Are there health risks associated with using because BPC 157 has not been extensively studied in humans? No one knows if there is a safe dose or if there's any way to use this compound safely to treat medical conditions. This BP 157 have medical purpose. Therapeutically, the synthetically produced peptide BPC 157 is not currently approved for use as human drug. It is an experimental compound that has been investigated for inflammatory bowel disease and soft tissue healing. Interesting. Although there is a concerning lack of published clinical trial data because studies appear to have been canceled or stopped without any published conclusions. Oh, that's sketchy. There's a lack of published clinical trials because studies appear to have canceled, stopped without published conclusions. Why would they cancel a study or stop a study for one of the most controversial, potent drugs to ever hit the market? That sounds conflicting. Like, I don't know, why would you stop the study? That seems to be a little fishy to me. Like, if it's something that's healing a lot of people, why would any company want to stop the trial unless they were forced to stop it? I don't see why anybody would openly want to stop a trial of one of the most popular drugs in the underground right now. But okay, that's a little fishy. I'll just point out that. If anybody has a comment on that, leave it in the comments below. That sounds a little fishy to me. If it sounds fishy to you, let me know. Even though there are no studies or trials that show BPC 157 is safe or effective in humans, okay, well, there's no studies that are clinical trial. Yes, but there is plenty of people that are real life that are saying it. I mean, I know people that are taking it, the same benefits. Some websites related to performance enhancing drugs advertise that it can be injected or taken orally for bone and joint healing, stomach ulcers, organ damage, and a number of other purposes, including athletic performance enhancement. It is important to realize that they're unproven claims, and that how they know there's no proof of. I don't know. I feel like this feels biased now that I'm reading it. And that use of BPC 157 for these or any other reasons is not supported by medical literature or by any medical associations. Other websites advertise a research chemical and that it's not for human use, yet some websites have suggestions for how someone could use it. Athletes are advised never to use a product that is marked for research only. There's no clinical basis for granting. Oh, wow. So that is the U.S. anti-doping agency stance on it. They don't seem very happy about it. I will say the least. Not very happy. Okay. Okay. They're not happy. Is anybody happy? Is anybody happy about BPC 157? This is 2023. This is YouTube. Let's see if we can find some good information about this. I feel like BPC 157 side effects. Emerging use of BPC in orthopedic sports medicine. Okay, here's something good. National Institutes of Health. Emerging use of BPC 157 in orthopedic sports medicine. Reddit. Oh, geez. Let's see. There's probably a lot of stuff we can go to here. Oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. This is why I'm doing this video, guys. So bear with me. You know, I really want to figure out like where we should kind of go here. Well, give me one second. We'll look at this source real quick, and then we'll go into some like consumer-based sources. But try to go with legitimate ones on social media. Body protection compound. That's what the name. By the way, BPC 157 stands for body protection compound. Naturally occurring gastric peptide that promotes mucosal integrity and homeostasis. Preclinical studies show its potential for promoting healing in the musculoskeletal injuries such as fractures, tendons, ruptures, ligaments, tears, muscle injuries. Despite lacking the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approval, and its use being banned in professional sports, is increasingly used by clinicians and athletes. Purpose: we sought to provide a comprehensive synthesis of BPC 157 literature from an orthopedic sports medicine perspective. Okay, so it seems like this is like a relatively legitimate source. Okay. Okay. Plain language summary. Let's skip to that section because that detail is going to make everybody go to sleep. Okay. It's a naturally occurring substance in the body. Well, we know that. It's still being used. The study aims to review all the research on BPC 157 to understand how it works, its effects on muscle and joints, and how the body processes it, and whether it's safe, which is the question we're asking. Okay, so good. The review looked at 36 studies published from 1993 to 2024. The findings showed that BPC 157 helps promote healing by boosting growth factors and reducing inflammation. It has improved outcomes in muscle, tendon, ligament, and bone injury models in animals. And one human studies, 7 out of 12 people with chronic knee pain felt relief over 6 months after receiving BPC 157. Wait, chronic knee pain, relief over 6 months? That's kind of a long time. There's a lot of things that you can heal you over the course of 6 months. That's not very magical, in my opinion. Diet and exercise. After receiving one BPC 157 knee injection, animal studies showed no harmful effects, but there is no clinical safety data in humans. Overall, BPC 157 could help heal butchering everything. Musculoskeletal injuries, but there are potential risks due to unregulated production and lack of clinical safety data. So it's not approved. There's a lot of proof that it is healing people, but it's unregulated. And I haven't seen a negative side effect yet. Huh. Oh, they're explaining what it is. Or what it does. Interesting. BPC 157. Downstream effects. So pathway mediators. This is what it signals. So it increases growth hormones, AKT. I don't know any of this stuff. Well, I know what some of this stuff. It was not all of this. Cell growth, proliferation, survival. Great. This is crazy. Okay. This is what it does in rats. Okay. Rats, rabbits. There's a lot of tests on animals. There's not enough tests for humans. Human knee. 7 out of 12 patients reported subject improvement in symptom for more than 6 months. So, I mean, it looks like all the benefits are... Where's the negatives? It's the part that kind of gets me here. Okay. All right. So we'll go back to some videos to keep people's attention. BPC 157. Let's take a look at... So we can find more information on it here.
This is apparently a controversial topic. However, it really shouldn't be. But oral BPC 157 is just as good as injectable BPC 157 in most people. Now, there are a lot of people online who push the injection. And what they say is that the injectable is for musculoskeletal injuries and oral is for oral, because how could an oral peptide get into your system? Because peptides are fragile.
Just so you know the relevancy of this, of what they're talking about, like, do I inject people that inject it versus people that take it orally? A lot of people are saying people that take it orally, a lot of peptides can't be taken orally because the acidity of the stomach or the digestion process breaks down the compounds, and so then doesn't become as bioavailable because peptides are really fragile. So oftentimes injecting it helps you absorb better and helps it last longer. But there are some studies or some people that have developed, like, I don't know what it's called, but they figured out a way to structure the peptide so that when you take it orally, it lasts through the digestion process, so it can get to your intestines safely and be absorbed into the bloodstream. Just so you know. Got it. Okay. Let's keep.
And they get broken down. And yes, most peptides are fragile and do get broken down in the stomach. However, BPC 157 is one of the exceptions. MK677 is another exception where it actually is absorbed orally. And so this black and white statement of like, oh, it's a peptide, it cannot be taken orally, it doesn't work, just not true. And so with BPC 157, the oral is going to work just as good as the injectable as long as one adjustment is made, and that is just a small dose adjustment. So yes, subcutaneous injections are always going to be more absorbed than something oral because nothing is absorbed 100% orally. Whereas when you inject something...
Yeah, that's a good point across kind of what I was saying. Is like he's basically saying the same thing. It's like when you inject something into the subcutaneous area of the body, which is your fatty areas of the body, it hits the bloodstream obviously a lot faster and it's absorbed quicker. There's also obviously a lot of negative stigmatism around injecting things because people just associate that generally with steroids. And yeah, which honestly I do too. But so people, so that you know, there's a legitimate reason why that's the case versus oral. So those that don't know.
Sub-Q, 100% of it is going to get absorbed into your bloodstream because it is bypassing, a barrier that doesn't let things in. And so what we do is that if our dose for injectable BPC is about 300 micrograms as a just standard dose that we might start somebody on, we dose it at 500 micrograms for the oral. So you can do 2 of the 250 stomach. And so when you take a oral supplement like BPC 157, it's going to move into the small intestine faster if there's nothing in the stomach. And the less time it spends in the gut, the less it is broken down, because obviously a little bit is broken down, and then you get good absorption and all that type of stuff. And the other important thing though is you want to make sure you're taking the arginate salt. So there's kind of 2 main forms. There's the acetate salt and then there's the arginate salt. The arginate salt is what the original BPC patent from Croatia was patented on. That they showed is more stable in the acidic environment of the stomach. Therefore, less of it gets broken down when it actually goes into the stomach. And so we've had a lot of patients over the years who have come to us on the acetate salt. We switch them to the...
Ooh, man, what a freaking rabbit hole this one is.
Imagine a tool that could speed up healing, reduce inflammation, and build muscle. That's the power of peptides. Let me talk to you about one peptide in particular. It's called BPC-157, Body Protection Compound 157. This is a gastric pentadecapeptide synthesized from gastric juice that is a sequence of amino acids, and when this specific sequence is put into the body, it calls the body to heal itself. Remember, we heal by having platelets show up to the site of inflammation and drop off valuable growth factors into our tissue. If we could increase the amount of growth factors delivered to the tissue, we could accelerate healing. This is the basic mechanism of BPC-157. So you have knee, hip, shoulder, rotator cuff, or ankle strains. This may be a peptide you want to talk to your functional medicine doctor about. It's also excellent at healing and sealing the gut since it is synthesized from gastric juice. It is tolerated very, very well orally.
BPC is being talked about more and more. You can grab yours right down below.
Imagine a tool that...
Yeah, that's tough. That's the part that's scary is because like he just basically talked about all the magical stuff of it and didn't give you any negatives, and then the kid on the end was like, hey, buy my BPC 157. It's like I feel like that's the experience of most people that are exploring this, and to me that you have to at least say there's no side effects. He didn't even say there's no side effects. He just didn't acknowledge any side effects at all or any issues with it. So I think maybe we can move on to like the negative side effects now, because I think it's very clear what the positives are. Yeah, maybe we can look and see if there's any downsides so far.
All I'm going to say is don't try anything big on the first day you try BPC 157, because it literally feels like you unlocked like a hidden setting in your body. You're going to be like, wait, what? Is this what normal's supposed to feel like? It's wild, because immediately you're like, okay, I want...
Is it just me, or is it like over, like, is everybody only talking about the pod? Like, I literally just typed in the word BPC 157. I didn't say benefits, I didn't say negatives, but everything that I get is a straight like, oh my God, this is a God drug. I feel like anytime that happens in anything, there's always a catch, and nobody's talking about the catch, which makes me worried for people naturally. That's just my natural worry. Not to be a pessimist, but at the same time, it's like usually things that like this come with a little bit of a cost, even if it's a little bit, and it's good to know what that is so you can make informed decisions.
This every day. So whether you're dealing with stiff joints, gut issues, injuries that won't go away, or you're just sick of waking up already in pain, like this stuff changes the game. Now for me, it just wasn't one thing. It was like this constant tension in my neck and this weird stomach ache thing that I got after I ate. Now, everyone was telling me it was just because you were getting older, but I have this one friend, and he's a trainer for a professional sports team, and he said, nah, bro, it's not because you're getting older, it's because you have inflammation all over your body. So he's like, bro, you need to start looking into some peptides. And at this point, like, I didn't even know what a peptide was. I started doing some research, you know, Google, YouTube, TikTok, and I keep seeing these videos of these, like, podcasters and bodybuilders just go.
Literally, this is the same experience like we're going through. These podcasters and these bodybuilders all taking peptides. And this is why I'm doing this live, because I feel like the average person is just gonna do exactly what this guy is saying, and he's admitting it now. He just watches a bunch of videos, be like, oh wow, this is amazing, and then takes it. And yet nobody, because as we researched already, there's not a lot of clinical research on it other than like some tests on a few like rats and like very specific cases. It's not regulated properly just yet, and we haven't explored the side effects of it, and yet it's, you know, the average guy is just watching a couple pieces of content and then taking it, right? And so, you know, that's scary.
Going on and on saying how they're now using peptides to help with their recovery process. Now, apparently these peptide compounds are a part of this like new wave healing process where you don't have to like jam this stuff into you anymore. Like they actually come in a capsule form. Now, this is the part that they don't want people talking about. This stuff actually heals people, and it's going to wipe out an entire industry of.
So this is the side that like I don't know if it's true or not, but he's basically saying the only reason that there's not as much clinical size, or it's not getting as mainstream popular just quite yet, is because big companies don't want people to know about this, because it's going to wipe out a lot of big industries. Because if they know that people can get access to all these healing drugs, then all these prescription medications made by big pharma. I'm not gonna go into all that, but I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah.
Prescriptions and expensive treatments. I was next in line for shoulder surgery after this bad accident that I got into, and I started taking this every day, and I still haven't gone under the knife. My sleep got better, my recovery sped up, and I stopped waking up every morning feeling like I was 20 years older than I actually was. Now, not all brands are created equal, and trust me, I learned this the hard way. I was actually taking this one brand for like a month. It said BPC 157 on the label, but I literally took it for 30 days, and like I felt nothing. So I switched to a real brand made in the USA, and after about a week, I honestly can tell you I felt a major difference. It actually finally felt like my body was working with me instead of like fighting against me. Now, I don't know.
That felt like AI. That felt like AI. He literally said it sounds like my body is working with me and not against me.
Understand why this isn't a bigger conversation. Apparently we're just finding out about these peptide compounds and what they can do, but if they're still doing a sale, I would pick up a couple bottles, because once people start catching on to this stuff, it's going to be hard to get. All I'm going to say is don't.
This guy legit? Oh, he might be legit. Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I apologize.
All I'm going to say is don't try anything big on the.
It sounded a little bit like it out of me. Okay. So that's interesting. So that's his take on BBC 157, and I would say a lot of people believe that. And then obviously it's 117 comments of people saying, how do I get it? It's not immediately. Ingredients list says BBC 157 nowhere on the bottle. Pretty sure you gotta do site induction to be effective. It took about 5 days, and I was so relieved. It takes nearly 3 to 4 weeks to start working, but it absolutely does work. Amazing results. Purchase, thanks. This is all like the end of last year too, which is really recent. So take it for 3 months. My whole body feels better. I'm 52 years old, fit, heavy. Help with my back, but not my knees. Take a few couple to start doing his thing. Definitely, it's not next day, but the healing is great. It's safe for diabetics. Is it safe for diabetics? Like, people are really like, it's starting such a huge conversation, right? Like, I don't know. Let's there's something else I wanted to show you guys. Let me see. Here's another video out that I was gonna check out on. I do like that he's committed to biohacking, so that does tell me that he's at least, I mean, it makes me feel that he's at least somewhat authentic. I want to see more of his takes on BPC 157 though. Ugly truth about BBC, the truth about gut issues, 2 peptides that are overhyped, what they won't tell you about, the truth about the peptides my dad tried after his accident.
So apparently the suits are trying to ban BPC 157 again. Now, I've been taking this stuff every day for almost 2 years now, so I'm basically a superhero. Obviously joking. I'm just a regular guy who's getting older, and now stuff just hurts for no reason. I actually brought this up to a friend of mine the other day because he's a trainer for a professional sports team, and he said, nah, bro, it's not because you're getting older. It's because you have inflammation all over your body. So I bought a bottle, started taking it every day. And did it work immediately? No. But after like 4 or 5 weeks, I can honestly say that I felt a major difference. It definitely helped with my joint pain, my inflammation, and just all that crap that comes with getting older. So if you're sick of waking up every morning feeling like your body's working against you as opposed to with you, like this could definitely be something to look into. This is the one that I ended up sticking with. It's BPC 157 and it's made by UNC Labs. It's third-party tested, made in the US, and I actually just saw it was on sale.
Who is UNC Labs? UNC Labs BP 157. Like, who is this? Who are these people that he's promoting right now? What's the ingredient list? Creatine monohydrate and then collagen peptides. Why do they put creatine in it? So it's magnesium glycinate and creatine monohydrate, which are both really good. There's plenty of benefits of those. Very proven, very tested. The collagen peptides, they call it the BPC 157 blend. Interesting. Let's see the collagen peptide. Huh? Who is this company? $2026. UNC About Us. Its mission is simplify yet powerful to provide high quality science backed supplements to promote optimal performance. Really based. Let me see something. Is UNC Labs legit? Maybe the Reddit heroes will help me. Wow, look at this. Anyone trying to influence this product onto you is a scammer. Well, that's scary. The fact that I can do one simple post and then
scams in the fitness industry right now is definitely this BPC 157 body protection compound, and then it lists this blend that is not actual BPC 157, and I'll explain what really is, since there's a big hype around the fitness community involving peptides. BPC 157 is a synthetic peptide which contain 15 amino acids and for the most part have to be injected. The reason being is because amino acids don't really survive past your stomach acid. Okay. Anyone who is trying to sell you BPC 157,
there's some truth to that, as we know. He said it's 15
7 through oral capsules is a scammer. They're just trying to make money off of you. This here doesn't even contain anything related to BPC 157.
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I was thinking. I just didn't want to say that because we did limited time to really research the exact compounds of BPC 157. BPC 157 compound. Like what? Like, let's see if we can find like what it is. Okay, this looks legit, but that's not. That's not what I was trying to do. I'm trying to figure out what's the breakdown. Maybe I could do like compound breakdown so we understand what it actually is. BBC 157 compound breakdown PDF our chart. Maybe that'll help. If we can get a chart of it. Okay, here we go. So let's find something. This is what BPC 157 looks like. Holy crap. And like, and just let's just be clear, right? Like, I do fitness for a living, like, right? Like, we're talking about guys that just watch a few videos that won't even do the extent of the research I'm doing to understand if what they're buying is legit, which is why I think this is so dangerous, because it's an unregulated space, clearly. Like, you think that guy is going to go in and do this much research, look at like it on this level, and then see if the pill bottle that he's buying is matching up with all of these numbers? Like, I don't think if you take 80 dudes and have them watch that video, most people are just going to buy and say, well, I'll give it a shot, you know? Like, nobody's like, that's like that. That's one of the issues to me, right? Like, let me see. These aren't really clear breakdowns that I understand. This is like, hold on. Okay, so this is like the most legitimate breakdown we could find. Okay. That's like how it works, but we're trying to figure out like what it is. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. This is the structure. This is the chemical structure, right? We'll try to compare this and to the label. This is going to be tough. But maybe we can do this. Maybe I can say, ChatGPT might be able to help us. Why don't we do that? Why don't we put it in ChatGPT to see if it can help us with the comparison? Here, I'll put it in ChatGPT off screen, and then I'll bring it in and see. Let's see. What is it called? UNC Labs BPC 157 legit based on this breakdown. And then I'm gonna put like, what that kid has on his thing, and then I'll put what I have, right? And we'll try to figure out if it's like legit or not. So boom, that's the kids breakdown, or that's the UNC Labs, and then I'll put in what it actually is, which is this. Save this real quick, and then I'll lock this in, and we'll find out if this is like actually legit or not. Okay, and we'll see. And while that's loading, I'll keep going here and just put that on the back burner for a second. So ChatGPT says, short answer is no. UNC Labs BPC 157 is not legit BPC 157 as a peptide. Here's why, based directly on the breakdown you posted. So I gave ChatGPT the breakdown that we found from mdpi.com, which is, let's see the legitimacy of this source. This is a Department of Analytical Chemistry, the Faculty of Pharmacy at Medical University of I can't pronounce this, but this is a medical university in Poland. And this is published last year, right? And they broke down what BPC 157 is. And it's amino acid sequence, which this is the amino acid sequence. And I compared that to what people are selling on TikTok to see if that was legitimate, right? And then basically ChatGPT took all that information, and I'll share it with you guys here. This is what ChatGPT said. It said, short answer is no. UNC Labs BPC 157 is not legit. It's not a legitimate peptide. Here's why. Based on directly the breakdown that you posted, BPC 157 is a 15 amino acid peptide, which that kid did say. It's a 15 amino acid peptide with specific fixed sequence. So that seems to line up for multiple sources. This is the sequence of BPC 157. It must exist intact to function biologically. Break that chain, you no longer have BPC 157. Your second image correctly shows the full peptide. What happens when it's broken into fragments? Those fragments are not BPC 157. So this particular sequence of amino acids is what makes BPC 157 what it is, right? If the label doesn't have this specific sequence, then it's probably not legit. For what the supplement facts shown in the first image, it's a BPC 157 blend listed as individual amino acids, glycine, proline, blah, blah, delivered orally as a supplement. Not a synthesized peptide, not intact 15 amino acid chain, not protected from digestion, can't reassemble into BPC 157 in the body. This is amino acid soup, not a peptide drug. Ooh. Your diagram makes this crystal clear. Once BPC 157 is fragmented, it loses peptide structure. The body does not magically rebuild peptides from free amino acids, so claims of the same effect are biochemically false. Real BPC 157 is research grade. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. I could ask it. Not legally sold as a dietary supplement, not effective when swallowed as loose amino acids. UNC Labs BP 157 equals marketing, not medicine. Calling BPC 157 is misleading because it does not contain the peptide. It cannot act like the peptide, and it relies on consumer misunderstanding of biochemistry. Okay, and just so you know, this is the first peptide that I looked up on TikTok, and relatively speaking, based on limited data that I have and limited sources, it's already considered a blatant scam. That to me is very alarming, because I bet that video had tons of comments, tons of views, tons of likes, and that's what the average person looking at BPC 157, I guarantee you, is going to do. They're going to get their information from TikTok, and they're going to get their information from sources that are limited because there's not a lot of information about it, right? It's not legal in a lot of ways, so they have to go underground to find this stuff, and when they go underground to find it, this is probably the process they're going to go down, and they're going to be taking that thing. They're not going to go to the extent that I just did to look up it's like amino acid blockchain sequence of 15 to make sure that the pills they're getting match it. Like, that's, people stop before they get to that point, right? And so that to me is alarming. That is alarming. So it seems like there's benefits, but it seems like sourcing it is dangerous, and that is the biggest gap right now. That's my opinion thus far based on the research we've done. So let me know if you guys agree in the comments below. But I could keep going. Maybe we can find some more legitimate sources.
Yeah, so this is fake, and this is fake. BPC 159 is completely fake. It's not real at all. And a lot of people are saying they're not feeling the benefits of BPC 157 because they're taking shit. There's a lot of shady overseas brands that don't sell you the right stuff, and you need to make sure you find the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and link the real one. This is BPC 157 from Unc Labs. Check the reviews out right here.
Wait, did he just say that other ones are scams and then proceeded to also show a scam? No, he did not.
Yeah, so this is fake, and this is fake. BPC 159 is completely fake. It's not real at all. And a lot of people are saying they're not feeling the benefits of BPC 157 because they're taking shit. There's a lot of shady overseas brands that don't sell you the right stuff, and you need to make sure you find the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and link
Was
the
that
real...
kid showing BPC 157, or was he showing
Apparently
BPC
the suits are trying to
159?
ban BPC 157 again. Now, I've been taking this stuff every day for almost 2 years now. No
She's showing the same bottle.
Shoe as opposed to with you. It's made in the U.S. and I actually just saw it was on sale, so I threw the link below for you guys. So apparently the suits are trying to ban BPC 157 again. Now I've been taking this stuff every day for almost 2 years now, so I'm basically a superhero. Well, obviously joking. I'm just a regular guy who's getting older and.
Okay. This is very confusing. This is the same company. UNC Labs is not.
This is BPC 157 from Uncle Labs. Check the reviews out right here. This is the one that's on TikTok that actually sold thousands on thousands. This takes you straight to their actual page. And the good news is once you do get on the real BPC 157, you start realizing, holy shit, this is like opening the gateway.
No way. This much misinformation is.
Here's the thing. Here's the secret they aren't telling y'all. You don't need tons of prescription medications to reach your peak of health. They're making supplements, one-pill solutions like BPC 157 that are helping with a lot of y'all problems that y'all already have. Joint pain, inflammation, gut health. The studies are there, guys. Check them out.
This is scary. This guy is appearing to be a doctor, and he's also saying doctors don't want you to know this about the supplement. And then he proceeds to also show BPC 157. This is by Uncle Labs. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is scary. Yeah, it's alarming. You gotta be careful here, guys. Definitely be careful with what you're taking. Try to do your research. From what I understand, this seems to be the breakdown of BPC 157. So let's look at what it is, right? Compound BPC 157 amino acid breakdown. Like, let's really like make sure we're doing this right, because I don't want to say this is a scam, but this could be huge because a lot of people are taking this, and this is very scary. So let's take a look at what BPC 157 is. National Library of Medicine of BPC 157. All right, so I would argue this is probably somewhat legitimate, more legitimate than probably TikTok. So let's just save this image, and I'll just throw this in ChatGPT real quick. Just see, like, basic, just for sake of time, since we're here. Is this the same structure that we just looked at? Hold on, make sure. So we have this one we looked at. I'm not gonna look at this. Too many tabs open. Okay. Okay, so that's the same thing. So let's. Sorry for all the tabs. There's like 1,000 tabs. Okay. So I'm asking if this is the same structure, basically, just to make sure we're actually looking at the right structure, what BPC 157 is. Yeah, so this is the correct structure, but it's only if the amino acid sequence exact matches the. Okay, so this. Okay, so this is the amino structure of BPC 157. Okay, so it has to be that specific chain of amino acids or protein. The issue is that a lot of people that are selling it are just selling like breakdowns of all this stuff. That's really scary. Okay, so that's becoming an issue.
Here's the secret they aren't telling y'all.
Let's see what let's see if I just type in BPC 157 on TikTok. Like, if I was a guy trying to research this and trying to buy it, like, what that would lead me down. These are just the first videos. Here we go.
This is fake. This is fake. This is fake. This is fake. There's so many fake listings out there for BPC 157. I cannot even begin to count the number of comments that I've personally seen of people that are like, oh, I'm taking BPC 157. I'm still getting sore. I'm still not able to recover. It still feels like my body's working against me, not actually with me. And every single time, without a doubt, when you actually dig deep and figure out, okay, what's going wrong, they're taking some shady overseas BPC 157 that quite literally is going to do nothing. I mean, I fell for it myself too. There's so many fake listings out there. So I put the correct listing on this actual video. It's the one with a little over 15,000 sold. Because when you're taking an actual BPC 157, you're able to wake up and feel the way that you want to feel on a daily basis, not being limited by what your body can or cannot do.
Let's hear the plug.
Feeling better, more clear, and just
where is the plug?
So I put the link on this video. Please.
He put the link on his video. Okay. Paid partnership. Where is his link? I'm sure they're lying to you. Where is his link? Oh, I probably can't see because I'm on the desktop version. Fake. 100% listen to this man. Facts. Got it. Beneath Council, this is not. It was that the whole time? Oh no, I messed up. Chat, I just realized the title of this video is completely incorrect and all the tags are incorrect. No, I can't believe I just did that. Oh my god. No wonder it didn't make sense, because I was freaking pushing this video, people that are interested in water, and the whole video is about peptides. I'm sorry, Chad. I'm just emotional because I put a lot of effort in doing this for you guys, and it just kind of like ruined it for me. Okay. I'm gonna pause here for now, because I need to fix the title of this live, and I'm gonna make an official part 2. So if you do like this, please like the video, drop a comment for me. That would mean the world to me. I do have to fix the title of this video so it's proper. And then I'll probably do a part 2 of this concept later, because this is a very big topic, as you understand. But so far, it seems that my research has said that peptides do have a lot of benefits and a lot of promise. However, because it's so unregulated, and because there's so many people trying to profit off of the hype, that there's so many scams going, so the risk is starting to outweigh the rewards in terms of getting a legitimate source for the commoner. Maybe people with money that can source it from a lab that's third-party tested, that's actually the proper amino acid chains, legitimate. I could see it kind of being beneficial, but for the average goer, I would stay far, far away from this based on what I'm seeing, and probably stick to diet and exercise until it has more approvals, until it's like been found to be a little bit more legitimate. That's what I have so far. I want to keep researching and going through and making sure that maybe we can find a proper source of it. Maybe I'll say that it's the best thing in the world and you all should do it. I don't know. I don't know what the case would be, but I will do a part 2 on this. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But that is what we have so far. And we'll keep going through it. So appreciate you guys bearing with me on this concept. And then if I don't get a chance to go live again today, because I do have some client meetings. So as you guys know, I do one-on-one coaching. I'm a holistic fitness coach where we do non-drug, non-pharmaceutical, none of that stuff, just all natural, healthy eating, diet, and exercise the old school way to get people in the best shape of their lives, and keep it there naturally. That's what I specialize in, and I'm a coach. So if you are interested in that, you can go to trevorbellcoaching.com. There's probably a link in my bio on YouTube as well. But I do have a meeting with a client in 30 minutes, and I will work on this YouTube live to make sure that it is properly tagged, all that stuff is done. And yeah. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to work on that right now, and I'll hopefully be doing a part 2 extremely soon. I just seen a reply. What's up, buddy? Gaming and builds. What's up, bud? Appreciate you tuning in. I was literally just signing off. But yeah, I will correct the title of this video, fix all that stuff, and then hopefully be able to get back on for a part 2 or a different topic. If you have topics you want me to talk about, just DM me on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me, and maybe I'll bring that up in the next conversation. So that being said, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.